JR, can we start and then let everybody join when they get here? Because I still got to go to work tomorrow.
What's the first thing women notice? Your face. That's why you got to take care of. Simple things like getting a haircut, grooming your face, and brushing your teeth is important. But there's one thing guys miss and that women always notice. It's when a guy isn't taking care of his skin. That's why I'm so excited to have Intentionality as a sponsor of today's video. Intentionality simplifies the process of taking care of your skin. They provide you with all the products you need and nothing you don't. Seriously, I don't think some of you believe me when I tell you how much implementing a quality skincare routine will improve your confidence in all aspects of your life. I recommend you start with the level 1 system, which comes with all the basics: daily face wash, exfoliating scrub, an AM moisturizer with an SPF 20 and a PM moisturizer. But and to make it dead simple for you guys, they provide an instruction card in every box that tells you when to use each product, how much to use, and in what order. But because T just sponsoring this video, they're offering you an amazing deal. Just click the first link in the description and get 40% off your first skincare system and free gift. Plus, as a member, you'll get 20% off for life. By the way, one of their new gift options is a silicone body scrubber, which is a $20 value and a complete game changer. Once you use this, you'll never go back to a regular loofah ever again. So don't wait any longer. Click the first link in the description to start your skincare journey today. What's going on, family? How y'all doing? Introduce the crew. This Irish. Go. Let's take a minute. What's going on? What's going on? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? Can y'all hear me?
Hello, hello. Now we can initially. Yeah.
Okay. Man, Brady, is it cold?
Actually, it is a little chilly. I mean, I'm comfortable.
Okay.
Don't get me now. Look, I'm not sitting up here with a bubble coat like our friend.
Oh, okay. You talking about Viz?
It's just a vest. It's just a vest.
Yeah.
It's like a sweater, you know.
Okay. Just part of that.
Shots have been taken shot early, ain't they?
Just part of the Yeah, hopefully Viz is supposed to be pulling up, so we'll see. I'll check on him in a bit, man. What's going on, King? Talk, you there? I said be that momentarily. Anyhow, man, good to see you guys, man. Welcome on this lovely Wednesday. Glad to be here in attendance. The countdown. You got kids, you know, they count down them days. At least I know mine. So they got counting down until Christmas time is here. And I'm pretty sure some of the parents are similar to me. They can't wait for it to be over, right? Can't wait for it to be over. Anyhow, if you guys haven't already, hit that like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Also, make sure you click that link that's in the description, Intentionality. You get 40% off along with a free gift. And if you become a member, you get 20% off for life. That is men's skincare. It is very important that we take care of our skin and leave it all up to the women. I know the women be having their skincare routine and they got Sunday self-care day and all that good stuff, man. But we also have to make sure that we are doing our part with our skincare as well. Okay. So we got an excellent show ahead for you guys. It's harder to find. Is it harder to find or maintain a relationship? Is it harder to find or maintain a relationship? I thought we kind of stay away from marriage. We always talk about marriage, but there's a lot of folks out here that's dating with intentions, looking to date, currently dating, 1 foot in, 1 foot out. We got all type of things going on when it comes to dating. A lot of people may say that it's a lot of piss in the dating pool. And a lot of marriage folks feel like they are lucky. They don't have to be out there. They've been out the game for many years, like Miss Taken. You've been out the game a lot of years. Okay.
Man, being in these spaces, I will stay where I'm at. I am good.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. How you doing, Aisha? You said no, you just anticipating. What you waiting on?
Nothing much. Ready to get into the discussion. I guess.
Okay. You need me to call Darwin up here? Nah, you good? Okay.
I'm good. I don't. We already got Hank.
Okay. I didn't know if we had to summon Darwin. Yeah, let me go ahead and pull this video up, man. Where is it? Here we go, right. All right, so I pulled this clip, man, from my one of my guys, man, podcast Jew from Daily Rapper Crew. They had a clip that I ran across today, which I thought would make for interesting discussion. So I will be dropping the link in the description. Let's make sure we go ahead and support them over there as well. And thank you for the content. It's just giving us a little bit of context, but I do want to make sure that we are having a discussion, almost like we sitting on the couch. Feel free to just chime in when you want to, man. Let's just have a discussion. It ain't got to be so structured. Y'all loosen up a little bit. It's not Thursday, but the pressure is on. I want y'all to be relaxed and just having a great discussion. I'm looking forward to it. I want to participate in it. So make sure y'all share the mic. I do got the timer ready for you, Miss Taken, just in case you may need it. So, it's not that I'm singling her out. She actually requested.
I'm going to fall back since you said it's really for, those who are in the dating scene.
No. It's not that. I mean, pretty sure you have discussions with some of your folks and some of your girlfriends. Some people may be back on the dating market, man. I'm just looking to just have a discussion. You have a lot of wisdom. I'm pretty sure you can add to it. So let's just go ahead and get into it. So I'm opening it up with a little bit of dialogue from there, and then we'll go ahead. Y'all want to respond to something they said, that's cool, but we can just have a discussion. What's up, King Talk? You there?
Bless.
All right. Here we go. I'm going to run this clip, y'all.
What is harder to find, maintaining a relationship or being in a relationship? Which one is harder to...
Maintaining it. Absolutely. It's really easy to find a relationship. It's not that hard if you want to be in one.
Especially with social media.
I said I wanted to be in one. And no,
well, finding a good
it's hard for me to find a relationship.
Why? What do you want?
Huh?
What do you want?
What makes it hard?
What makes it hard?
Your person.
The dating pool, as people say, I mean, it got pee in it. So I mean, like, it's hard to find a good mate that you vibe with, you get along with, and even as as you go on through a relationship and the barriers start to fall, that y'all still, here with it. That's hard to find, in my opinion.
But I think that's what we're saying. Like, as hard as it is to even just find someone, maintaining it with that person,
I think once you find that, it should be easy to maintain it, though. I don't think a lot of people are finding that, and that's why it's hard to maintain.
That could be true.
Yeah. Are you keeping your options open? Because, like I said before we started here, I just looked at the person next to me and was like, "What's up?"
But you were attracted to him.
Yeah, I mean, but I ain't know him from a can of paint. He was just sitting next to me. So I was like, all right. I mean, he was kind of really not my type. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to go for the tradition, what I feel like is my type or who I want to be standing next to me. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go by vibes and feelings and how this person treats me. Mm-hmm. So it was like, all right, he's treating me good. So we're going to keep going.
keep going.
And now we're maintaining it, like we are trying to figure out how to spend time together, how to date times, where are we at with sex and kids and all that. That is all the things that we're trying to maintain while still being individuals and having our own careers and aspirations and goals. So that's why it makes it hard to maintain it, because we only got 24 hours in a day.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Right. Yeah, I feel like I'm just the type where it's like, if I see somebody and that's who I feel like that's who I want, it's like, that's what it's about to be. Like, this is who I have my eyes on, and that's who I want. And I don't know, I feel like the world always works out to where we end up crossing each other's paths.
He's
we
like,
speak,
not for
we
me.
wink.
All right, let's go and get into the first part. Is it harder to find or maintain a relationship, man? Going to get into it. Start with you first, Brittany. Talk to us. Let's have a discussion, man. No pressure.
Got you. I think it's harder to find your person. For me, I feel like maintaining won't be so difficult this time around because I'm experienced. First time around, it wasn't really difficult, but I feel like I didn't have my person. I mean, it was challenging, but I feel like had I had my person, had we been more aligned and equally yoked in thoughts and beliefs and a lot of different things, it would have been easier. I think the hardest part is really finding that person. You can meet a lot of people all day long, but it's like finding that sweet spot, that, alignment is what's most challenging.
So finding that sweet spot. What is the sweet spot that you would be looking for?
Well, me in particular, I mean, because it varies per person, but that's a loaded answer. I want someone who I can be myself around. Are you wanting me to deep dive into all of this? Because I will. But
Yeah.
high level, I want someone I can partner with and someone who I'm compatible with. So like, there needs to be attraction. There needs to be some sort of physical attraction. That's not everything, because attraction, beauty fades, but there needs to be some type of attraction initially. We need to be able to have a conversation. We need to be able to laugh. We need to have fun. And then once you get beyond all that surface level stuff, we need to, I need that person to be spiritually grounded. I need to know that he lives his life according to a higher calling, a higher being. I need someone who's family oriented. I mean, the list goes on. I could keep going on and on. And like what I found is I'll meet a guy who has some of those qualities, right? And I get you have to weigh the pros and the cons, but I haven't met a guy that has enough of what I'm looking for in order for me to be like, yeah, this is my person. Like, I found my person. So.
Okay. So when you say enough, like what would be enough out of that? You said attraction, somebody to laugh with, have fun with, spiritually grounded, family oriented. Like, what do you, I guess the question I should have probably asked is like, what are your deal breakers, right? And then you could probably easily name those. So then would everything else be like a non-negotiable?
Yeah, deal breakers are any sort of addiction. If he has like a dependence on alcohol or like drugs, if when he goes out, he's getting drunk all the time and he can't handle himself, or he's getting like, he's got to smoke all day, every day. If he does any type of drug beyond like weed, you know what I mean? So that's a deal breaker for me. What else is a deal breaker? His employment situation. I mean, I know we've had this conversation enough. We've had I'm sorry, y'all. Kink. Anyway, he has to have it's not a certain dollar amount that he has to make, but he has to be employed, and there needs to be consistency in his employment track. So someone who's kind of like all over the place, working in a bunch of different fields and all of that is a red flag for me, because it's a potential sign of instability. So stability is really important. Like, I need someone, I'm going to put forth a certain amount of effort and energy when it comes to my professional life, my finances and everything. I need someone who is not necessarily making the same amount of money, but has the same level of ambition and consistency. I don't want to have a liability on my hands. You know what I mean? Because once you get in a relationship, if this person has a track record of not being able to hold a job, or, you know, they don't know what their career path is, then there are chances that that person might be unemployed. And now that you're in a marriage or some sort of commitment, now as the spouse, you have to kind of pick up that dead weight. And I don't want to put myself in that position. So that is a big deal breaker for me. And a man that has like multiple children's moms. I'm trying not to say baby mamas, but I can't deal with somebody that has multiple like moms in the picture. So
Okay.
that's a lot of different personalities to have to coexist with.
All right. We'll go to you, Hink. Is it harder to find or maintain a relationship?
For a stallion like myself, it's not hard to find. But as far as maintain, it's going to take a little work, you know what I'm saying? And that's one thing you both have to rely on, putting that work in. Because you got to make sure, once I find that right woman, make sure she has the work ethic that I need for her to have in order to make sure she stick with it. You know, don't run at the first sign of trouble or maybe a molehill or something like that. You know what I'm saying? We all know it's going to be some adversities. There's going to be some up and downs. We're not always going to agree. We're not always going to get along. You're not always going to love me, and I can accept that. But are you going to be willing to work? Are you really going to get that lunch pail and that hard hat and ready to put that work in every day like I need you to? So I think it's a lot harder to maintain.
Okay. Go ahead, Miss Aisha.
I agree with Hank. I think that it's easier to find someone than maintain in a relationship. And I think that it's because people change. And I think that once the romanticizing of that person goes away, then you get to see who people really are. And I think that people change. I think they said women change, like we change our mind like every 3 years, right? And men have to be willing to like go through all of these ups and downs and transitions with us. And the same thing goes for men. Like, men change. And so I think that the ability to maintain those lasting relationships is the hard part. And it's even harder in today's society because people think that you can just like move on to the next person. Like, oh, it's just, people think it's just easy to move on. Nobody wants to put in the work. Nobody wants to stick around. And I think another problem, I think the headline was like, is it harder to find love? I don't necessarily think that it's harder to find love. I think that people just don't want it. Like, and that's why. And they make up excuses to not be in love, or they make up excuses to not have these partnerships. I think that those things are easy to come by. You know, I just think that for me personally, I feel like I've already experienced the magnitude of love, like, just to be honest. So like, if I don't ever experience that again, I feel like I'll be okay. You know what I mean? So it's not so, I don't feel the pressure. I feel like back in the day, women felt this pressure to be like in these relationships, stay, be wives. And now it's more about, I think Hank would agree. We more about like how we feel and what's best for us. And I think that that's also a reason why a lot of people who have started when they're young and now back out there, it's like, I want a relationship, but I want somebody that's going to have X, Y, Z, and I'm not putting up with ABC. So it's just easier to be like, I'm good until I find, like Brittany said, my person. And because I'm sure I could have been, you can fall in love with anyone, huh, Brittany? Like, you can literally fall in love with anybody. That is easy. But am I going to want to actually be with this person for the rest of my life? Because time is ticking away.
Okay, so what are your top 4 things that a man must have? Your top 4.
The top 4 is integrity is really big for me. He got to have a job. He got to have a job or a hustle or something. You got to be able to maintain. A job, good credit. That's right up there at the top of the list. And I think he gotta just. I am learning as I get older. This is going to come out pretty bad, but I don't really want to engage with guys that didn't have no male role models or didn't have any men in their lives. Like, they didn't have no fathers, no uncles, nobody to direct them on how to, not even like a preacher at the church. Like, they didn't have any male role models in their life growing up, to teach them how to be men and how to be a family. So that's really been big on my mind lately. Like, so I feel like that is beginning to be one of my deal breakers, because in relationships, that causes a lot of issues, because I want somebody that's gonna come to me already healed. I don't really want to. Yeah, I'm not going through that.
All right. Go ahead, King. Talk. Is it harder to find and maintain a relationship?
I would go harder to maintain a relationship, because finding something isn't the same as finding the right something. Right? So you can find a relationship and it may not be the right one, right? But to maintain a relationship, whether it's the wrong or right one, it takes a lot of work. Because like she said, and some other people had mentioned, people change, right? And sometimes you could be in a relationship where one person doesn't change, and that's the problem, right? Like, one person is motivated, they trying to do this, and the other. The person is complacent, they're comfortable where they at, and their logic doesn't sync up with align with the way they want to live life, right? And they may already have kids before they find that out, right? So then you got a choice to make on how to live that. So maintaining it, to me, is harder. Like, if you're talking about finding the one, then yeah, of course finding the one is harder. But in general, like, maintaining a relationship, being on the same page with somebody, is probably definitely more difficult.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I would say maintain as well. I think people can find somebody. I just think that they overcomplicate the looking process. So either a lot of people get eliminated and don't get the opportunity.
That
I
part.
think that some people hop into relationships and they actually have a good person, but they don't know how to deal with it because of their past trauma or their past experiences. So they are they have guards up. They're in relationships in fear. They want total control of the outcome. And another reason why I say maintaining is because it's not about you anymore. It's about you and that person. And so if you are a selfish individual, now you have to consider that other person and their feelings, and which may alter how you respond to things. Or now you have to have a little bit more patience. But now you have to just be involved with somebody, and you don't have control over anything at that point. You could, with the proper communication. If you guys have excellent communication, then you can still get a lot of the things that you want and a lot of the outcomes that you would like to happen. But it takes a lot of work in order to be able to maintain a relationship. And I don't even think people know how to maintain relationships out of relationship, not out of relationships, but out of being like romantic. Like, some people don't even know how to deal with other men or deal with other women or deal with coworkers, even dealing with their family. Like, they struggle just relationships in general. And I think that's something that you should pay attention to. It's like, how do they treat the people that surround them? Because it can kind of give you an idea of what type of person you may be getting involved with. If they're distant, it could be a possibility that they may be distant with you, or if they don't have a good relationship with their mothers or their fathers or their siblings, then it kind of can give you an idea, because somebody has to be reasonable. Somebody has to be the initiator. And if that person is not initiating anything and they're just leaving it where it is, especially if you've grown, if you well up into your 40s and your 50s and you still say you don't have a good relationship with the other person, it could be the other person, or it could be that person who you're with. So go ahead, Miss Taken.
Initially, I was gonna say I think it's much harder to maintain a relationship, until I heard the other guy's perspective of saying, is it that the relationship is harder to maintain because you didn't choose the right person to begin with, right? So that made me think about the fact that a lot of times what happens is, if we question ourselves, are you the person you want to be with, right? So a lot of times we'll have like all of these requirements. Like I think you had asked Brittany, what is she looking for, right? And she named all of the things that, you know, she was looking for me, and was like, and I could go on, right? But I think a lot of times we have the ideal person of who we're looking for, what we want, that is so specific that it makes it more difficult to find that person. And then on top of that, all of the things that we say that we want in a person, we don't necessarily exhibit those same qualities that we're looking for. So you want somebody to be patient, but you may not be patient. And that's because you're looking for a person to fulfill a void or a lack on your end. So I know I might not be patient, but I need somebody to be patient with me, you know, or I know, you know, I want somebody to make six figures and you don't even make six figures. I want somebody that, you know, that knows how to communicate, but you don't communicate effectively. So I think that those are the things that make it harder to, if you don't find the right person, if you're not exhibiting those qualities that you say that you want and need, that's going to make it harder to choose the right person, and then makes it extra harder to go ahead and maintain the relationship. So I think they overlap. I think they play on each other, but after hearing his perspective on it, I think it might be harder to find the person because you're not the person that you're looking for. You're not even the person that you're looking for.
Okay. A little bit more of this clip.
Now, I think for me, real quick,
yes, finding or maintaining.
I think it's equally like, you know, finding is hard and then maintaining. But I would have to lean more towards maintaining because there's so much nuances to just a relationship, you know what I mean? That, you know, people are constantly evolving, people are changing. You have to learn how to adapt with them. I don't think we are taught enough about the nuances of relationship, how to adapt with somebody. Like, people are changing. And I think that part is, you know, once you get past the surface level of relationship, then it goes into a deeper level. Now you got to worry about finances together. You got to worry about parenting styles. And like, it's more than just like, you know, if we're compatible with each other, because we can be in certain aspects, but then, you know, mentally we might constantly evolve. Like, I know women's bodies are constantly changing, their moods are constantly changing. I don't think men are made aware enough about, you know, women's different you know, moods and emotional states. And, you know, just as men too, men can come off very simple, like we're very stoic or we don't show emotions, whatever the case is. But there's a lot that we deal with, and maybe that even could be a detriment to us because we come off so emotionless that women feel like maybe they don't have to, you know, try to break in or try to figure out him, you know, emotionally. And that's leaving a void there, because now he feels like, damn, I can't open up to anybody. Especially nowadays, I feel like women want men to open up, and then when they open up, now it becomes like
You open it up too much.
yeah, you open up too much. So now where men are trying to find that balance of, you know, not being stoic, but then also being able to be vulnerable enough to open up to a woman. And that's a hard task for men to do, because, you know, that when you do open up to a woman, I think we all been there, and that woman has used it against you. It's tough, like, you know what I mean? So,
That is
you know,
true.
so I would say both of them is equal, man. But I would have to lean more towards maintaining a relationship.
All right, so he brought up something about uh, people changing. I mean, I think we can all agree that when you first enter a relationship, 2 months later, it's slightly a little different, right? Slightly a little different. And then he talked about men sometimes being cautious to be vulnerable when they are dating. Do you think that is an issue, King Talk, as far as men being caught in between whether they should be stoic or be vulnerable with women?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I think that it it unfortunately the solution is just be yourself and hope for the best. But no, I think it wasn't emphasized. It wasn't important before. So of course, if it's something that's more important now, you're kind of still in the rookie stages of figuring it out. You know what I mean? Like before, provide and protect was really about the ability to earn, you know, bring home the groceries, or you giving her the bread to get the groceries, but regardless, making sure there was food on the table. And a lot of those things didn't require you being open and sharing your anxieties, angst, or whatever's qualms are going on with you, right? So I think a lot of people are in the rookie season of figuring out how to do it.
All right, what about you, Hank? Do you think guys are caught in between, whether to be stoic or whether to be vulnerable when it comes to in the early dating stage?
No, I think you definitely have to be stoic. You need to make sure you do a lot more listening than talking in the situation, because as a man, you're taking a bigger chance than the woman is. You have way more to lose in the situation than the woman, because the woman gets the benefit of the doubt of a lot of the situation. So as a man, you making the final decision, just like you got to take the wins, you also got to take the losses. So you're gonna be at fault. Now, if you're not willing to accept all that, man, you want to definitely make sure you pay real close attention. And you can't do that when you're opening your mouth and you're talking too much. Allow that woman to share, express, tell on herself, confess, whatever you want to call it. Allow that stuff to happen so you can pay attention and hear what she says, whether they're good or bad. And then you just need to move accordingly. You know what I'm saying? Whether you disagree with what she's saying or whether you agree with everything she's saying, you just need to make sure you pay close attention. Don't allow a lot of distractions to be going on around y'all in order for that to happen, though. That's another thing, fellas, you got to make sure you on point with. Because when you have too many distractions, then she gets a little discombobulated, then she's not focused, then you no telling what you're going to get. Make sure it's not a lot of alcohol involved in the interrogation period. You know what I'm saying? So she could be coherent and know what she's talking about. Because, when you get a little liquor in the system, you got to kind of take what she's saying with a grain of salt. Is that the alcohol talking, or is that just really her? So those are just a few things that I would do.
Okay. Ladies, let me ask y'all on the panel. Do you prefer a man to be kind of stoic for the most part, or do you want him to be vulnerable?
I prefer him to be vulnerable. That's just me because I am a communicator. So, like, when I date someone, you're gonna know how I feel. Times 10. Like, I'm a Cancer to the heart. So, I am a feeler. So, I prefer someone that's gonna be themselves and be vulnerable around me. I don't really like stoic. Like, stoic, you're probably not gonna get a call back or a second date. So, but that's just me.
I've often heard that women do like stoic. Well, not you, but a lot of women like stoic because they like the mystery. Is this true?
No, I want to know all your business. I'm in I'm an HR manager. I probably already did like the background check anyway, but I'm just saying I want to know everything.
Okay. About you, Miss Brittany.
I think a man needs to know how to read the situation at hand. It's a time and a place to be vulnerable and to be stoic. So it's neither one over the other. It's just about timing and being able to read the room or situation at hand.
Have you ever dated a soft guy?
What do you mean by soft?
Just not masculine. Just a little bit of just relaxed and just agreeable to everything you say.
Oh no.
For the most part, no, you never dated a person like that.
No.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
So it would be a problem.
Well, that doesn't really have anything to do with being vulnerable, though.
No, it doesn't. I just was just asking in general, just because I was thinking about sometimes when a guy is vulnerable, he's in touch with his emotions, and sometimes guys can just be too emotional. You know, once you open up that door, as far as him being vulnerable, now he just wants to dump every single time he can.
Yeah, no, I think a man can be vulnerable and still be assertive and masculine and all of those other things that goes along with what I like. I mean, it's nothing wrong with a guy if he's more, sensitive and emotional, but I typically am attracted to men who have more of a voice and exemplify, the ability to lead and like express himself. And he's just not looking for me for the answers and the blueprint. He's going to be vocal and communicate as well.
Okay. Can't talk. I heard you laughing at Brittany.
No, it was. Yeah, I think it was just the choice of words. The wording was just yes. To answer your question, I don't remember which one of her statements it was, but she said it with such passion, and
Okay. Go ahead, Miss Taken.
I was gonna say, I think a lot of people misconstrue what stoicism is, or being stoic. Like a lot of times when they're talking about it, it's in the context of without emotion or without feeling, right? And that's not what it means at all. Is really more about being able to have emotional control. And then more along the lines of like instead of being ruled by your feelings, not saying that you don't have any feelings, but knowing how to express your feelings in an appropriate manner, right? So I believe everybody should be stoic based on that. A lot of times I know men complain that women are too emotional or overly emotional. And I think women need to learn to be stoic. We do need to learn how to be more in control of our emotions and provide more thoughtful responses when we are engaging in situations that could be emotionally charged, right? So I do believe that everybody needs to be stoic. But again, like I said, I think we mix up what stoic looks like and only look at being so in control of your feelings that you don't even express them. I think that's what men are taught. And then women have a way of expecting that. And so when you do meet a guy who is very in touch with his emotions and he shared them, they don't necessarily know how to take that because they've been conditioned to think that men don't do that.
So we often hear that women have a representative. Do you guys think men have a representative as well? Okay, go ahead, King. Talk. I seen you now. You're here first. Speak on
it. I think that your average guy places a high priority on the art of the conquest. To put it eloquently, and will use whatever techniques he finds necessary to close the deal. and that a lot of those occasions, the representative is what he'll send to task. Now, there are certain percent of the population that's going to just keep it 100, and people are going to choose them anyway. But I do think there are a lot of guys that lie their way into sex. They might present themselves as open to a relationship when they really just want your legs open. So it just really depends on the percentage of that people. I think both genders do it, though, to be clear.
Okay. Yeah, both genders, but first time kind of hearing a man speak and say that men do it as well. Go ahead. I think I seen mistaken. Was you nodding your head? Yeah.
Everybody has the other person. I call it like the mask. Like when you go out, you present yourself one way to the world, and then you go home and you take the mask off. So to me, when you go out in the world, that is your representative, and you're not. A lot of times, people are not 100% authentic in who they are. Like when you're going to work, like we code switch, you know what I'm saying? We do all of those things. So absolutely, men are also do that, especially when they're in the dating scene. Both men and women put on a different character in an effort to attract, right? So I definitely think men that men also have a another representative. That's how they get the girl.
Mm-hmm. All right. Anybody else? As far as on the men having representatives?
I agree, which is why while I'm dating, I take my time because I know it's only so long that a person can keep up that representation. It doesn't matter what a guy tells me up front and how good he's talking. Like I've learned to take my time because eventually you're going to see who this person truly is in all the ways. So I agree 100%.
I'm really the only guy that's gonna admit this. Like I gotta stop telling secrets. Like for real? Like guys always come in honest and true. Is that what we doing tonight? Come on.
I haven't spoke yet. Let me get Hink in on it. Hink, do you think men have a representative?
Yeah, we should. We lie to the hoes. The hoes don't deserve the goddamn truth. So that's a representative. Yeah, we don't tell a hoe a truth. We don't. What you don't tell the truth to these chicks who out there fast ass in outlet? Why would you do that? But at the same time, women come to the table with a lie. Most of them, anyway. When you wear all this makeup, that's a goddamn lie. When you wearing these ragged ass Spanx, that's a goddamn lie. When you wearing these wigs and these weaves, that's a goddamn lie. What about that says it's the truth? It's not real you. You showing you putting on your goddamn Tammy Faye Baker clown face. But you want me to trust every goddamn thing you have to say? No, you coming in lying off the jump. So now I know how to address you. I categorize you. I put you in a box. Yeah, this heifer's only good for 20 goddamn minutes. Because she's lying off rip. She's not coming her true, authentic self. But go ahead and keep lying while I keep knocking your stanky ass down. I landed there.
It was just a matter of time before Hink woke up. There you go, Hink. There you are.
So Hink, let me because
see. Okay,
I'm gonna ask this question, Hink, because I know it's a lot of gentlemen that you see on different podcasts and different shows. They speak on how they want a natural woman. So when it comes to the women you've dated, and the woman you married to, there's no makeup at all, like no weave at all.
No,
just natural and bare face. I mean, like even on wedding day.
Now she had some lipstick on. but it wasn't. I mean, it wasn't. She didn't have that shit caked on. Look, I don't believe in that. Look, lip gloss and all that, and some lipstick. I'm cool with that. But when it's to the point, it just changed your whole exterior. I mean, I don't even know who you are any goddamn more. That's a problem. When you look like a damn bozo the clown to me, that's a problem.
Okay, so you're okay if it looks more natural. So if they have the foundation, if they have the stuff on their face and it looks natural, you're okay with it. If they have eyelashes and it looks natural, you're okay with it.
Hell no.
So
hell
no.
No. What you? Hell no. That's wild to me. I can't go with that. I can't. Shout out to Hall and those. I can't go for that. No can do.
Okay.
Now I know some hurt feelings up here because I know my man King
nobody's feelings are hurt because I believe that everybody has a type. Like you are literally entitled to have your type, right? You don't want somebody with the flyaway eyelashes, they eyes be closed. I get it. You don't want all of it. So I understand, but I also think that just like you always pick at Brittany's list, you have a list too, Hank. And this list that you have is back from 1962.
Nope.
Like, how many? I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Like, you're basing. You telling men to base whether they choose a woman on if she wear makeup or not. That
I didn't say makeup. I
said in half by like 100%.
I said if they did you not hear me give the example of Tammy Faye Baker? Do you know who Tammy Faye Baker is?
Let me just say, you just said they gotta have natural hair, no weaves. Can she wear braids?
As long as it's her hair.
Okay, so you're telling these men to base how they're choosing their woman on those standards?
No, I'm not telling another man if he should choose him or not. He's asking my opinion of what I like, what I prefer, and what I taught my son to prefer. Now, I can't tell King Talk. King Talk might like that. You said what, man?
You raised the little hinks, little male chauvinist.
Man, is that what we doing now? Now he's a male chauvinist. God damn. So let me say this. Just because I'm telling my son he doesn't have to accept a woman who's fake and has to take that shit off her head every goddamn night, looking like that chick from I'm Gonna Get You Sucker. No, that's that bullshit. We're not doing that.
That
you
is
want a
drastic.
woman who's going
Nobody
to be
is
real.
going home doing that. Nobody's doing that every day.
Y'all are. That's the problem. Y'all are. We don't even recognize you heifers no goddamn more. Some of y'all put up that goddamn makeup. Y'all are totally different. I watch a woman go from a dark-skinned woman like King is to a light-skinned woman like Mistaken. That's sad. That is sickening. That's what we call self-hate to me. And I don't want a woman who hates herself. Yes, sir.
Now, we're not going to do the little low jabs. We're going to stay on the level, all right? All right.
What are you talking about? I ain't going to jab at you, brother.
You said a dark-skinned woman, then you said like King. So I want you to be really clear with what you said.
I meant to say, my bad, little buddy. Calm down, brother.
I
meant to say a dark-skinned guy. Here you go to cater to you, baby boy. A dark-skinned brother like King, and now all of a sudden she's looking as light as Mistaken. That's a problem, me. That's what I call self-hate. I don't want a woman who's insecure and has self-hate about herself, that she changed her whole complexion. I don't want what Serena Williams did to herself. Skin bleaching. I don't want that shit. I want you to be you. Look, man, if you bald-headed, don't wear a wig. Go bald. Shave your shit. I'll put some baby oil on your goddamn head. I want you as natural, as real as possible. I don't want that fake shit. If you're going through
realize that it's not all about you, the relationship. What about
I'm okay with that. I'm telling you what I want.
What about what she want? How she feel?
If she wants that, she won't be with Hink. That's what I'm telling you. I don't mess around, man.
Let's say in 2 years your
You
wife
used to them
decides she want to
clowns.
bust down.
You
She
used
want
to them clowns who waver. Hink doesn't waver. I stand on what I stand on. If my wife's in the chat right now, you look at her, she ain't got that fake shit on. I don't play that shit.
Hank, can I ask you, Hank, let me ask you a quick question.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
we talked about a relationship, maintaining a relationship is harder than finding somebody, right?
Yes,
Part
ma'am.
of the maintenance of a relationship too that has to be considered, which makes it difficult, is that people change, right? So my question to you is, you met your wife, like you said, just natural. She showed up in the ways that you liked. What if 4 or 5 years down the line, let's say she's like, oh, I'm getting older, I'm seeing myself getting older, and she wants to maintain her youthful look. So she begins to start wearing makeup or wearing, hair or dyeing her hair because it's turning gray and all of those things. Is that a deal breaker for you if she decides to want to start wearing makeup or doing her hair differently, like wearing braids or a wig or whatever?
Look, I don't have no problem with her wearing makeup as long as not to the point where it changes her completely. Like I said, she wears lipstick. If that's what you're asking me, yes, she wears lipstick. So that's not a problem with me.
So you're
Now we
okay
don't
with makeup as long as it looks like a natural makeup. You're okay with
Yes.
a natural makeup look. Okay, got
Yeah.
it.
He don't like the drag queen. You know how the ladies, they do the drag queen looking makeup. It's a lot, but
so now you understand what I'm saying.
He doesn't want the contouring and highlighting and all the extra stuff. Just give him a little blush, a little eyeliner, maybe.
Yes, now you're learning, Brittany.
I told you, Brittany. Remember, I said I got a 5-minute makeup routine. Remember, I told you 5 minutes.
All right, we play a little bit more of this clip.
I would even say, starting a relationship. I don't think a lot of us look for what we really want. A lot of us settle for what we think we want or what somebody say we should want. You know what I mean? A lot of people say, oh, you should be with this person because, or you looking at somebody else's life and you see that they look happy and you just want that same kind of life. A lot of us, I'm not even going to speak on women. I'm going to just say a lot of men will just settle for a woman that will give him enough attention. You get what I'm saying? Whether it's sexual or, speaking to them, a lot of men would just settle with a woman that just listening to them or hearing them out or following their directions because it's so uncommon for a lot of us. So,
I have a question. How do you guys start your relationship? How do you let your woman know that now this is the beginning of a long-term relationship?
That is tough because I rarely have asked a woman, like, do you want to be my girlfriend? I feel like I ain't do that since like high school or some shit. Like, you know what I mean? But I think after a while, enough talking, and that's probably me, just a lack of communication on my end, but it just feels like we have graduated to a state of where we just automatically know that we are locked in. Like, you know what I mean? So
how do you know?
How do you know? That's what I'm saying. It's an assumption.
You have an intentional conversation.
I'm like, yeah, you're not.
Because for the ladies,
I think after a while, it is intentional because it just comes down because I never said it verbally. Then it gets to a point like, are we in a relationship, or it's just that sometimes it slipped. Like I was talking to somebody and then I was talking to somebody, they end up calling me their man, and they had told it to like it was a close friend situation. Like we were talking for a minute, like you know what I mean. So when she gave me that title, I didn't push back.
Did you hear what she asked you though?
Huh?
Did you hear what she asked you though?
Yeah, because he
are you her man? Are you her man?
Are you her man? Yes or no? Simple.
I would say yes. I was. Like, you know what I mean?
Okay.
The laugh and then the I would say is crazy
because we were in that stage where we were getting to know each other. We already took those steps. You know what I mean? So it was.
But if she's saying that you are her man, why are you saying I would say that? Because is there a disconnect?
No, I'm just saying I agree with her. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
but it wasn't like again, it wasn't something where I was like, yo, do you want to be my girl? Like, it was just, she just ended up saying that. And then it was shared to me and I was like, you know what? It makes sense. It just was never communicated. Like,
I guess I am.
So,
the
ladies, do you prefer him to ask or to have that conversation and say, you are now my girlfriend, or will you be my girlfriend, or make that, very clear?
For me, if a man can't have that initial conversation, that shows where he is in his his communication. If he can't have that conversation with me, I want you to be my girl, then how are we having harder conversations?
But I would find.
Oh, I had a couple interesting points, but it's a good question. Like, how do you establish the relationship, if the relationship is exclusive or not? How does that typically happen when it comes to dating?
You have to be clear. You have to communicate that and not make any assumptions. That goes on both parts. Because I have seen a situation unfold where, you can communicate with the person every day. You can have a great vibe or whatever you want to call it. That doesn't necessarily mean that you all are exclusive and that you now go together or whatever you want to call it. Just because you have a great connection and you're communicating daily and you're going out often, you have to explicitly say, I would like for us to be, in a relationship or, committed or monogamous or however you want to define it. I definitely think that both men and women make the mistake of assuming that that's your man or that's your woman. And that's a big no for me. Like, if I'm dating, I'm dating, you know what I mean? Just because we might talk often doesn't necessarily mean that you're my man, So.
I was going to say, I concur. It needs to be explicitly stated. And the reason is because many times as women, we get mixed signals by the way that the man's approach. Now, I'll use myself as an example, but I know a lot of women can relate. Is before, like when me and my husband started, dealing with each other, even though initially he was like, I'm not ready to be in a relationship. He did say that initially to me, which I was like, okay, cool. But when someone says that they don't want to be in a relationship, I expect the relationship to look a certain way. Like, we're not going to be spending a whole lot of time with each other. We're not going to be on the phone, for hours on end. We're not going to be, hanging out, like all of the things that you would do in a relationship. So it got to a point that I started thinking, because we were doing those things like daily almost, that, okay, we've upgraded, like nothing was said. I just assumed, like, because that's the direction that we headed. We weren't hanging out every day initially, but now we're hanging out all the time. I'm at his spot. He comes over to visit me. We, doing a thing, so in my mind, I'm like, oh, okay, we've transitioned into a relationship. And then later on down the line, for him, it was, well, I told you we were never in a relationship. So I couldn't blame him, because yes, he was honest and he told me, but his actions to me made me feel very different. So explicit communication in regards to it on my end, I should have said, so what are we doing? Right? I needed clarification, because truth be told, he told me from the beginning he wasn't ready for a relationship. But in my mind, that changed. So it's important that you get explicit information. If you feel like something changed, then you need to bring up the conversation again and just say, I'm feeling like things are kind of shifting. Are we exclusive? You know what I'm saying? So then that way we're still on the same direction. But when he was ready to settle down, he was explicit and intentional. Like, I'm ready to be exclusive. If you seeing anybody, you need to tell that, that's it. Like that was that whole thing. Like he was ready at that point and he made it known. So I didn't have to question.
I'll just share. You brought up a good point. Oh, go ahead, Hank.
No, go ahead, man. You start.
I'll just say you brought up a really good point, Miss Taken. I think that oftentimes people are not they don't really think about their actions. So if you're spending a lot of time together and you're the one who's like, I'm not ready for a relationship, like I'm not ready to be exclusive, I think it is important for you to kind of assess the situation and fall back some, because I've made the mistake before of having those long conversations, finding times to connect when I had no intentions of taking things to another level anytime soon. So I had to pull back when I realized that person was actually starting to develop deeper feelings and having different expectations. But I think most people don't do that, especially if the other person is, I guess, just kind of going with the flow. It really is about being the mature and sort of responsible person to say, let me fall back some because I see where you're going and I'm not there. I'm not headed in that direction. So it's good that you all were able to navigate that. It can ruin a lot of friendships that are building, I think, when people are not clear.
I don't know. I feel like Brittany's having a flashback right now. I hope you're all right, Brittany. I hope you're all right.
No, this was a while ago. I'm good.
Okay. Well, my condolences. Let me say this. Most of the times we have to women need to communicate better with that situation and let it be known. Because look, again, as a man, we're gonna ride as long as we can. And if you don't let it be known what the expectation is for this relationship, we won't. But you also got to make sure that you hear that man say, "Oh, we official." Because if not, you may think y'all are. You may be moving like you are. But me as a man, I'm moving like a single man should. Because that's what I am. Until we have established that and let it be known, a man's gonna keep moving like he's supposed to be moving. Out here enjoying life, doing his thing. Moving on. He may be out there collecting bodies. I mean, I don't know. Until you let it be known, this is what it is. I want us to be together. And that's how it goes. And then make sure, again, like I said, make sure he's he's on the same boat. And he does explain himself, yeah, this is what I want. Or if he says some bullshit answer, yeah, I think so too. No, I think so is not the answer you need to be looking for, ladies. You need to hear him say, yes, it's me and you.
Okay, so from what I'm hearing from you, Hank, is that you kind of start off saying that a woman has to let the man know, but you're also saying that if a man sees a good woman, that he will let her know.
He will confirm it.
Okay. If I had to give my opinion on it, I think it all depends on mindset. Sometimes age can be like a factor as well, just depending on where that person is. If you got somebody maybe in their 40s and 50s, like they may be less likely to want to play around. I'm not saying there's some that's out there, because they do have some that do play around and still just want to be single for the rest of their lives. But there are some men that have no problem telling you exactly what it is they're looking for. And if you're not that person, then they'll just keep moving until they find it. So I think both people need to pay attention to certain signs. It should be clear. I mean, communication should be clear. I think the older that I've gotten, I started to really realize just being direct and say what it is that you're looking for. And you can take all the time you need to see if that person fits. You don't have to rush and give and say, hey, you're that person. You can just say, "This is what I'm looking for," and I think action do speak louder. If you that person that fit it, then he's gonna show it, or you're gonna see some type of sign, and then vice versa too. I think some men stay idle too long in relationships, and they're not getting the signals that they know that they should be getting, and so that's when they find themselves just the relationship not going nowhere. It's because they've just been spending too much time and they haven't been receiving what they've attempted to give.
Yeah, but it depends on, like you said, what you're looking for. Now, if you're talking about marriage, ladies, y'all gotta let it be known you want to be married. I said it before. You better let it be known you want to be married, because we can play house all day, every day, and we'll keep you stringing along and play it up. We might throw a little hint out there every once in a while, but if you don't let it be known you want to be married, then you can't be mad at man 5, 6 years down the road talking about, well, I want to get married. Man, you didn't say shit for 5+ years. Now all of a sudden you want to get married? I'm good with what we got going on. What's wrong with what we got?
So, quick question: if a woman lets a man know make it known that she wants to be married, should she also provide a timeline in which she expects, or
Yes.
or not? Okay.
No. You have to, because one thing you got to make sure you do. If he doesn't, you hold him to that, then you need to walk. And you got to be willing to make that walk. You got to stand on what you say. You can't waver. You have to stand on what you say, ladies. If you say, within 2 years, I would like to be married. That 2-year date come up and there's no ring on your finger. Yeah, you need to be ready to walk. Because if not, he's going to keep you strung along. Like I said, he's going to tell you just enough to keep you going along. Yeah, it's going to happen. I need to get my money up. Or I need to, I want us to have a big wedding. So I want to save some more money so we can pay this big lavish wedding. That's not what he's doing. That's not even what he's thinking about. For all we know, if he was to do it, he said, man, just take me to the courthouse. We can have it in a friend's backyard. But he's going to tell you, I'm trying to save money to get a big wedding just to keep you, string you along. You have to put, you have to put a date on the mistaken. You have to, because if you don't, that's what's going to happen to you. You can't be mad because you didn't require it. Not for real. You threw it out there, but you didn't hold him to it. You didn't hold his feet to the fire.
I like that. You about to say something, King?
No.
All right. A little bit more. Let's clip the last bit.
It truly valuable if a woman could tell me.
You gotta put that phone on.
It's the watch, bro.
It kind of sounds.
But man's Apple Watch.
But anyway, like I said, I would find it valuable if a woman could say, "Hey, I don't know where we're at right now, but I would really like to be in a relationship with you."
Oh yeah.
Because I don't think it's solely on a man.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I do think it's important that a man say it as well. But if a woman took that initiative, then maybe sometime we're in our head like, she not, looking for this or whatever.
Or she already know what's up.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think communication can come both ways.
And so that's where I go back to the whole idea that we're equal, where it's like we can both show up in the same way for certain things. So communication across the board, we should both be able to communicate certain things. Now, should one person be initiating everything? No, but I love a check-in. Like I'm always like,
Yes.
let's check in really quick. Like, like I know when we first started, we was doing that. And now it's kind of like, we want to do this, where do we see this going?
Every 30 days.
Depends on where the check-in happens. Like, if it was like a weekend or some shit, you try to check in. I'm like, bro.
No.
Yeah, no, it has to be like,
every 30 days
mutual,
for me.
like, I feel like the reason for a check-in would be the assumed feelings. And then the check-in is to make sure that those assumed feelings are what they are. And I think that the communication piece in general is what makes both starting and maintaining relationships so hard, because it's like, okay, you have to constantly communicate through those changing things. So you're going through something, you're changing into a whole different man than you were 4 months ago when we started talking, and I'm turning into a whole different woman, and I have to learn to communicate with that new man as this new woman. And it can get really, you just have to like really want to be in the relationship. And I think for me, that's like what you always have to ask yourself, like, do I want to be in this? Do I want to be in this? because it takes effort, and the time that you're investing into that is time that's taken away from other things. And so you constantly have to audit, like, is this working for me? Is this working for me? Is this something that I'm willing to put more into?
Yeah.
Especially ahead of the more serious things like children and marriage.
Right.
And you gotta want the relationship at the same time. Y'all gotta both want to be in that space at the same time. One person can't be off than the other, because then it becomes a situationship. Because now you're waiting for him to catch up to where you at.
No, timing is everything. I always say right person, wrong time is still the wrong person.
Yeah.
So if you're not, like, for example, for you, you're in what sounds like a healing journey and you are, figuring things out, which is amazing. So you for that. A lot of men aren't doing that. Right now you could meet your person, but you're not in a headspace right now to be dating. And so she could be everything that you need or want, but since you're not there yet, she seems like she's not that.
It won't be enough.
Yeah.
True.
One of the things that I heard in there, as far as towards the end, we talk about headspace. I think a lot of people approach relationships in fear. And even if you go through therapy, I don't think that that fear ever goes anywhere. I think the fear is still there. Sometimes I think people I think some people try to use their healing journey, and they're not fully healed as an excuse so that they don't have to endure whatever it is that they're going to endure when it comes to relationships. I think relationships is work. It's going to be work. And I think people have these high expectations when they are dating, and they expect for the relationship to go a certain way. Relationships are not going to go your way. You guys are two completely different people. And the older you get, the more experience that you have with good and bad. And so when you guys come together, you're going to have to process through whatever it is that you've gone through and whatever it is that you guys are going through. So I think if people approach relationships with an understanding that the honeymoon phase is not going to always be the honeymoon phase. So when we disagree, what does that look like? And I always say that somebody has to be the bigger person when it comes to communicating. All you need is a person to take the lead and the other person to follow. So if you guys are upset about something, who's going to rearrange the situation so that say, hey, I'm upset right now. I got 1,000 things I probably wanted to say to you, but I realize it's not going to get us nowhere. So let's talk about this. What are you feeling? If you guys can understand not to invalidate each other's feelings, then you guys can move forward. And you got to be willing to listen. That's the most important thing. You got to be willing to listen, because you can't be upset by the way that that person feel. You can try to get an understanding as to why they feel that way, but you can't be upset with it. Obviously, they feel this way for a particular reason. Maybe it don't have nothing to do with you. Maybe it could have been something that happened in their last relationship, and something came up and it reminded them of that instance that they had. But you can never get to the root of the problem, because y'all can't even have a conversation, because it's just a pure explosion at that point. So I don't. That's why I don't think communication, relationships, any of this stuff is hard. I just think people don't have the skill set, or let alone the knowledge to be able to process through these things. And everybody think they know everything. You can't tell somebody nothing, especially a stubborn, selfish ass person. What do you guys thoughts, man? Y'all can speak on whatever at this point.
Jay, I didn't like the way he took a shot at King, because King's a good guy to me. So I don't think he's an old stubborn ass man. I think he's a good guy, but that's just a different story. Let me say this: I definitely agree with what you just said, Jr. The most important about it is people got to remember it's a two-way street. You got to be able to know how to communicate, but you also, like you said, you got to know how to listen. And that listening part is probably the most important, because I know when your spouse is going to say something to you, he's probably going to trigger you or make you feel some type of way. But you got to have the patience and the self-control in order to give them the opportunity to finish whatever they have to say. Make sure they get the opportunity to get it off and get it out fully and completely before you even rebut. You jumping right in there is not going to help. Now it's going to incite the situation and it's going to make it more volatile because you didn't want to get that person a chance to really get their thoughts out because you want to quickly say and respond to whatever they had to say. And so now they're going to feel like you're being disrespectful, or else you just don't care enough for me to even hear me out. And so that's not good. Care. Right on.
That's Aisha. I see you over there smiling. What you over there thinking? Seeing a cloud above your head.
I just think that a relationship just takes two people, right? And I think that when we get into these relationships, I think JR said it, it's never about you, it's always about the other person. And I think that people literally forget that in relationships. And from my experience, people just don't want to go through anything. They literally think that it's just going to be all sunshine and rainbows. And as soon as a storm comes, they be ready to hightail it. This ain't working. I'm ready to go. This like there's no work put into any type of relationships anymore. It's like this ain't working. Let's just call it quits. Let's just go. And I think that's like the biggest challenge these days in the illusion that there are so many options. You know, I think that we often get on here and we say, oh, it's not enough men out here. Oh, it's not enough women out here. So if we're saying this, then why are we why aren't we choosing the people that are right in front of us? You know, I think that to myself often, especially with like the groups that we hang with and the things that we do. Like, these are good people around us every day, but we don't choose these people. You know, it's always a reason why we don't choose these people.
And I had this conversation before too, and people always be like, I got options. Well, why aren't you with them? And so if they are valuable options, then you would have been with one of them. Just because they want you doesn't mean that they're an option for you, right? If they're an option, then I think you guys would have made some work. And people got to stop being so superficial because the older we get, man, you gonna wind up being lonely. And some people don't mind being alone, but I truly believe that people don't desire to be alone. I think they have been conditioned for whatever reason to accept being alone, and they're okay with it. But I don't think nobody desires. And when you get old, and I said this before, when you get old, because life is gonna start happening, your body's gonna start going through some unforgiving changes. You know, God forbid it, but that's just the way it is, the reality, right? Your body is going to start slowing down. And depending on what your slowdown look like, imagine doing that alone. Imagine doing that alone. Nobody to show up there for you. Nobody to be there when you talking about something. Oh, my leg. The leg is going to be hurting. Nurse is going to come in and come check on you. They're going to send you home. You're going to go home alone. Be in that dark house that he talked about. Trying to call everybody else, ain't nobody else picking up because they too busy dealing with their family and their spouses and kids in their life. Because they don't really got no time for you because of your life decisions. It's not a bad thing being with somebody, man. I know we talk about make it so complicated and trying to divide one another, but it's a good thing when you can find somebody. All you got to do is just have a few good qualities, man. They ain't got to be the perfect person, but they just got to hit some of your cylinders, and you'd be surprised, what you can do for somebody. But you got to be vested. You got to be vested in that person. When you find a good person, you got to be vested in them. Because you might be able to unlock some things that has never been discovered within them. But you would never know if you're out here entertaining multiple people, man. But yeah. What are your thoughts? King Talk, Hink, Brittany?
I think we live in a society where everybody wants microwave results. So they want everybody a combination of their best experiences and, somebody who's already got everything together, and that most people approach relationships from a fear factor perspective of not wanting to be hurt instead of either way I'll be okay. So they're setting themselves up.
I mean, to that point, I think that I think you alluded to this as well, Lapeef, that people should be open to pulling something out of the other person. I know for me, I'm a little biased when it comes to that, especially at this age. I really don't want to have to pull anything out of anybody. I want whatever you working with, whatever gifts, whatever talents that you have to be discovered by you. I need you to do the prerequisites. I need you to do the work first. I need you to do the healing. I need you to do the, whatever you need to do to show up whole. And I think that's kind of been one of my challenges and issues with dating. It's like I expect a certain level of wholeness from someone because of the work that I'm doing for myself and the work that I've done. So like for me, I will help all day long. Like I will partner and enhance, but I don't want to pull nothing out you. I don't want a project. I'm a project manager by day. I don't want to manage a project in my relationship. Like come correct, come whole, like come figured out, come with your plan. You know what I'm saying? And then like we can come together and I can add value, but I'm not trying to pull nothing out of nobody. And so for me, I think that is why I keep becoming attracted to like I've noticed I am attracted to a certain type of a man. And like, but the issue is those men oftentimes come with, what's the best way of putting it? They come with a lot. They come with a lot of noise around them. And that's been one of the most challenging things for me when dating. But yeah, I don't want to have to pull anything out of anybody at this point. I will cheer you on, but I'm not pulling it out.
I do want to clarify. I get what you're saying for those people that fit that description. But what I mean is this. I think there are times when in a relationship, you'll find one gender has a laundry list of things that they need and a very short list of things that they actually require of themselves in a relationship. And that in those instances, sometimes you need to have a list that presents a more balanced energy or balanced set of characteristics and components so that you can actually attract and maintain what you desire. A lot of people put time into attracting what they desire, but have not built themselves up internally to be able to sustain it once they obtain it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I mean by the building. They want to tell you that the grass is greener over there, but what I've been saying a lot lately is they didn't water the lawn, right? They didn't water the lawn with words and actions, right? They didn't seed the lawn, right? They didn't do the necessary components to expect a greener grass, right? So no matter where they move to, the grass is always going to not be as green as somewhere else because they ain't putting no work at all. They want everything already, that person flawless, damn near flawless, ready to go. And they ain't damn near flawless themselves.
Yeah, I don't think it's about seeking perfection. You definitely have to come prepared to do the work. That's the relationship. I think Aisha alluded to it earlier when she said getting in a relationship is not about you, it's about serving your partner, right? But I think that before you even get to that point where you want to show up and serve that person needs to come whole. Like they don't have to be perfect, but I don't want to deal with any dysfunctions. Like I remember a therapist told me once when I was navigating a former relationship, like going through a divorce, I had this mindset of, I'm not looking for perfection. I kept saying, I'm not looking for perfection. And she had to help me out and to understand that it's nothing wrong with having standards. There's nothing wrong with not settling. And there is a difference between dysfunction and imperfection. I'm not looking for perfection, but I don't want someone who's dysfunctional. I don't want someone who's not fully operating however it is that they need to be operating in order to be a full functioning person. I'm trying to not make it technical. I'm technical by nature, but like I need you to like, I don't need you to be in the shop. I don't need you to be over there on the shelf because you're not fully operating and doing what you need to do. Like show up and do what you got to do so that when we come together, we can make something even more beautiful. You know what I mean? I don't want to have that pie. I know it sounds like very pie in the sky, but directly stated, going back to what I said about employment earlier, like, I don't need you to be perfect, but have a job. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't try to pursue me or be in a relationship with me if you don't even have steady income right now. You know what I mean? So like,
Respect.
That's what I'm talking about when I say I need someone to show up whole. I'm not looking for perfection. I don't need you to always be polished and say all the right things and like, you know, all of that. I just need you to, are you able to sustain on your own 2 feet? You know what I mean? Like, regardless of me, are you able to one day be a partner and not necessarily be codependent on me? You know what I mean? So it's not about perfection, but it's definitely about a person showing up whole. Like, that is just my key word in this season of life. Like, I need you to be whole. You know what I mean? Before you start trying to pursue me. And that is why I think I'm having a challenge, because my standards are very high at this stage, because you live and you learn. You know what I mean? Don't settle. I tell people all the time, don't settle, because once you get in that relationship, and if you have that mentality of you're in a relationship to serve the other, to add value, then you're going to be working a whole lot more harder than you would if you were with someone who was already doing the work and showing up, someone who filled the voice that they might have before they start looking for someone else, you know, to do it for them. Like, what type of work have you done on yourself before you start pursuing someone else? How do you take care of your body? How are you eating? Are you working out? Like, what are you doing? Like, how are you making sure that you are adding value into your own life, creating your own happiness, so that when someone else comes along, it's just value add. They don't have to complete you. You know what I mean? And that's kind of my mindset, which is why I think I don't want to say I'm struggling. I think I said that earlier, but which is why it's taking me a little bit longer to find my person.
It was something that you said that just triggered something for me in terms of my thought. Is that showing up whole is somewhat a conundrum, because you should I say that showing up whole is limited because you get to know who you are based on the relationships you have, right? And I'm not just talking about like boyfriend girlfriend relationships, but your relationship with parents, your relationship with friends, your relationship with coworkers. So when you think that you're showing up whole, you're only looking at it from one point of view, which is you. So you can actually think that you're showing up whole and I'm healed and I'm all, I'm all the things and I'm ready. But then you meet somebody in a relationship and they begin to be able to reflect areas in which you still need growth, where you still need to work on. And so, like you said, I can appreciate that you said, I'm not expecting perfection, right? So if you don't have I think there's a difference between expectations and standards, right? So I don't think you should necessarily, I don't want to say not have any expectations, but I think your expectations should be limited, because if you have standards in place, then those standards should lead to the expectations that you desire, right? So
for sure, that makes sense.
Yeah. So so thinking about how we develop into our authentic selves, our whole selves, it takes other people to get us there. And so that's why I say there's the conundrum, because if you're the only one, if your view is the only viewpoint, of who you are in terms of your wholeness, then you're limited because you need other viewpoints in order to project to see, oh, I still got some work to do here. You know what I'm saying? So that was just the thing that kind of came to my head when you said that.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, which is why I feel like when you reach a certain age, you're a little bit more aware of who you are because you've gone through those relationships, right? Like if you started dating in your 20s, if you got married in your 20s, those early relationships, not just romantic relationships either, but going back to the parental dynamics, your transformation is oftentimes triggered by experiences. So I agree with what you're saying. I just think at a certain age, most people have had enough experiences to know what they like, what they don't like, what they need to work on, in themselves, so on and so forth.
All right. Anybody else got anything to add? Guess not. Y'all are quiet today. Then go ahead and get to the 199. It's harder to maintain a relationship. And Big at $10 says, yeah, if I have to take 2 steps back and look 2 or 3 more times to make sure you're not a drag queen or its cousin, you wearing too much makeup. I agree. But some people, unfortunately, have to cake it up. I mean, I get it. I get why. When they pull it off, you understand why. But from my understanding, this is from a dermatologist, that your skin naturally wants to revert back to the color that it was meant to be. If you can figure out how to stop it from getting inflamed, then that's what's going to solve the issue. A lot of times people like to take medicine for their face and for their bodies instead of getting to the core of what the problem is. They rather rely on blood pressure pills and all this good stuff. I know every medical situation is different. I think some people, they got a friend that's a different diabetic, and I think it may be difficult for them to not take medication. But for the most part, man, see if you can just get to the root of the problem. And that's in your relationships, it's in your medicines, food you eat, peace of mind, conflict at work. Just get to the root of the problem. And you may be able to overcome whatever it is that's an issue for you. I want to thank Aisha, Brittany, Inc., Mistaken, and King Talk TV for this excellent discussion tonight. I'm hoping we'll have a lot more energy tomorrow on Thursday, because like
See what happens when you put a muzzle on me? I told you.
No, I think you was gonna be that way anyway. You had already came on doing the countdown timer. I already knew what time it was. It's like, oh
no, man, I'm mistaken. You just gave everybody the opportunity to talk. That's what it was. You gave everybody the opportunity to talk tonight. So we appreciate you for that, man.
Go ahead and get up out of here, man. Y'all enjoy yourselves. Catch you next time at the like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And we